Hello, I'm Stella and welcome to my channel 30 Books, and this time around I am speaking with writer, memoirist Katia Ariel, who is also a Stella Prize Shortlistee. Thanks for your time, Katia.
Hi Stella, thanks for chatting with me.
So tell us, how does it feel to be not just a long but a Stella Prize Shortlistee?
Gosh, it's an incredible accolade for a first-time author. It's wild. I didn't expect it, and I still sort of haven't quite processed it. But it's wonderful, and I'm so thrilled that prizes like this exist, because voices like these need to be nurtured and pushed to the fore of people's knowledge, I think.
It's an extraordinary book. It is The Swift Dark Tide. I absolutely loved it. And I'm not just saying that because you're standing here. So 2 questions. What is the book about? And what is the book really about?
Wow, gosh, that's a great question. The book is about what happened to me when I fell in love with a woman some decade and a half into a very settled life with a man. And a beautiful family that was like really blossoming, and 3 children. And so that's the front story. But what it's really about, I think, is selfhood and desire and following your heart and negotiating difficult spaces. And I think there's like some line in it about halfway through where I talk about life often feeling like a mixed dictatorship of drudgery and chaos.
Yeah.
And it occurs to me that maybe that's like a really good synopsis for the book about how we mediate that.
And you also draw some beautiful parallels between your life and your grandmother's life as well. And you asked that.
She's right here behind us in this photo on a horse, telling of who she is.
Who was she? Can we without giving too much away, because
Yeah. She was a woman who died much too young and who lived very fiercely, and that's all I will say.
And what made you decide then to write about this extraordinary period in your life and ongoing period in your life?
Yeah. What made me decide, it wasn't even a decision, it was involuntary. It was like I knew that the only way I could find my breath in it, my sanity in it, was to write it. And so that was the tool I used.
And during this period, I mean, I don't think it's unfair to say that like emotions ran high for quite a lot of people. Yeah. How did they feel, like, as a memoirist? Do you call yourself a memoirist?
Sure.
That'll do.
Among other things.
How did your loved ones, or how did the people close to you or involved in this period in your life, what was their reaction like at the time, and what is their reaction now?
To the book?
To the book. Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, for a long time I didn't know it was going to be a book, and nobody knew it was going to be a book. And so I think they just observed me kind of scribbling away at my little project, whatever that was. And I mean, I am very lucky with how much support and unconditionality I have in my life. And that's really come from my motherline and also from the people I have loved in this life. And so they kind of just really allowed it. They more than allowed it. They celebrated it, even if it was incredibly prickly for them, ultimately, to see themselves on the page. They just loved me through it.
You exude trust and warmth, and I can imagine that the people around you, you would surround yourself in the same type of people, or they would trust you.
Yeah.
And do you think that's important as someone writing non-fiction and writing about other people?
Yeah, I think it's actually baseline. And I've really come like head to head with this in a very direct way with my second book that I've just finished the first draft of, because it's a lot about the process of bereavement. And I've sat with a lot of bereaved people, and if you don't come with a baseline of respect and kind of almost quiet awe for the beauty and complexity of every single person's story, then you're not going to get anywhere. No one is ever going to open up to you. And I have to come with that unconditional kind of reverent regard.
First off, so the publisher that you chose for your book, it's a small publishing company.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before. What did being published by a small publishing company allow you to do?
Oh gosh, you know, the most essential thing, which I feel like is kind of the alpha and the omega of the process, is that my publisher just saw the book for what it was right from the start. And when I was pitching it, it like got quite close with a whole bunch of very good houses. And then I got all these really beautiful rejections from publishers and editors saying, the prose is really exquisite and we love this and we love that, but for XYZ reasons, we don't know how to put it into the world. And he looked at it, I think he read it in one sitting, and he called me the next day and he said, I love it precisely because I don't know exactly where to put it. And it's got a kind of literary quality that just sings. And I knew then that my art would be safe in his hands. So that's really beautiful.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I suspect, now when I was saying before, it's not normally the type of book that I would pick up, and I'm so glad I did read it. I suspect, because I am an underwriter, do you think you might be an overwriter? And I'm not saying that, or has there been times when you've sort of looked at it and, because when I say you've got a big heart, like your writing is big.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you have to ever rein it in or pull it back?
I think what saves me from that brink is the fact that I'm a book editor and I have a very kind of sensitive alarm for bullshit and waffle. And I hope that has manifested in the book.
Look how small it is.
Yeah,
it absolutely
has.
has.
I think my aim is to sort of pack a punch with concision.
Yes. Let's talk about the book that you're working on now. You are writing basically about, is it death doula?
No, I'm writing about a man who was the director of the Jewish Burial Society for 30 years in Melbourne. And so kind of to say that he was an undertaker is very reductive because he was so much more. He is, I don't know why I'm talking in the past tense, he's still alive. I've just spent a year sitting with him, learning him. He's a community figure and a historian and an empath and a spiritual ally and all sorts of really magnificent things to people who are going through that transition. It came to me by way of a publisher who thought it would be a good idea, but he the subject of the book had kept all these really comprehensive diaries over the years of his work, and my publisher thought, well, what are we going to do with these diaries? Somebody needs to make them coalesce into a story, a biography. And so she approached me and said, what do you think?
And what is the difference, or what have you noticed about writing about yourself and writing about someone else? Although you do essentially, you write about your grandmother and your family.
And my mum and my daughter.
Yeah.
And I write about a lot of other people in this book.
Yeah. Do you have you included yourself in
it's in first person.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now it's time for my favourite bit. Probably not your favourite bit. It is the salad spinner of fear. You ready?
Yeah.
Close your eyes. Pick a question.
Sure.
Alrighty. One of Margaret Atwood's tips for writers is to keep up their back exercises. How do you settle in for a long writing session?
I get out of town and I take bread and soup and my dog, And then I just basically allow myself to be in my pajamas for like 4 days straight.
I think here they're always talking about, like, so you're sitting down for a long period of time. How do you make sure your back doesn't seize up or you don't get...
I sort of forget my body when I'm writing. If I'm
because you really are a person, I think, who is in their body.
Yes.
Yes.
But when I'm writing, I'm remembering the body of the moment that I'm writing. I'm not in the body that I'm in right then.
How do you do that? That's just... There's someone that can't... All right, one more?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. Do you read books on how to write?
Yes, I do. And I listen to authors talking about their craft a lot. I just finished listening to Anne Patchett's These Precious Days, which is great because it's about life and writing and the writer's life and the way that they're kind of all braid into each other. My great surprise in instructional writing books is...
I reckon you're going to say... I reckon I know what you're going to say.
Stephen King?
Yes!
Isn't it amazing?
Well, look, I'm controversial. I was totally underwhelmed by that.
Oh,
I know.
I
You're
loved
not
it because I didn't expect to love it, and because he writes such like hard-boiled genre fiction which I don't read, which is kind of not my genre, that I was so pleasantly surprised by his charm and by his humour and by his softness. Actually, he's like a very tender narrator and very compassionate about the struggling writer's process. I loved it.
I think I need to get that because I had a copy and I gave it away, and I think I need to go back, and it's probably, yes, I probably need to read that. Now, Anne Patchett also has Parnassus,
Parnassus,
book.
yes, in Nashville.
Book. Yeah, and it's a great Instagram page to follow. Katia Ariel, who is a shortlistee for the Stella Prize, which is being announced
2nd of May.
2nd of May, quite soon. So good luck and congratulations, and thank you for writing such a great book.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for chatting with me.